All right, so I want to show you something that I wish I would have seen a lot earlier in my life. I'm going to do it with two completely different situations that are actually the exact same problem, spread out over a lot of years. One of them put me in the hospital. The other one is happening in my house right now, and they look nothing alike on the surface. But underneath, it's the same pattern and the same mistake. Probably because it's the exact same blind spot for me. So let me take you back for a second. I'm building this company, early internet marketing days, like we're making stuff up as we go, trying to keep up with the demand and also somehow generate $1 million a month just to keep the machine running. No pressure, right? And me, I'm in charge of customer experience, which is just a really nice way of saying I talk to people when they're angry. That was my job. And we had problems, like serious, real problems. Complaints, escalations, things falling through the cracks. And my team is totally overwhelmed. And I'm in it every single day just trying to hold it together. Now, on the surface, I think I looked like a great leader. We had weekly meetings, we had daily check-ins, and like clockwork, I gave each member of my team a monthly one-on-one. I'm listening, I'm supporting, I'm building relationships. Like if you asked anyone, they'd say, yep, he cares. He shows up, he's there for us. I believed it. I wore it like a badge of honor. Now, let me jump to something completely different. Fast forward. At home, Joseph, my grandson, who sits on the autism spectrum, 3.5 years old, level 2 autism, and me, here's my job. I'm the captain of fun. I know, easy to imagine, right? That's my role. We play nonstop, walks, swings, bounce house, park, cars, trains, Legos. If there's a way to turn something into fun, I'm doing it. And on the surface, same story. Everything looks great. Joseph and I have a deep connection with a real bond and a ton of joy. He runs to me. He wants to be with me. I'm his guy. And again, I believe that. Now, here's where it all starts to get interesting. Because in both of these situations, at two different ends of my life, something started happening that didn't feel like a problem at first. Let's go back to work first. More escalations started coming to me in my office. I didn't see fewer. The more I taught, I saw more issues coming into my office. Anytime something got a little bit delicate or a little bit complicated, a little bit emotional, it got routed right to me. And I didn't push it away. I took it because I'm sitting here thinking, it's my job. I'm the leader, right? At home, Joseph starts coming to me for more and more little things. And I'm talking about little things. Things like putting on his Crocs or throwing something away in the trash. Stuff that he can do even with his diagnosis. But it's just easier if I do it. And I don't really think twice because what I am thinking is I'm helping him. Now, pause on this for just a second because this is where most people miss it. I missed it completely at two different times in my life. Nothing looks broken. In fact, everything looks like it's working well. At work, all the problems are getting solved, and for the most part, customers are getting handled. And you better believe that my team felt supported. At home with Joseph, our connection is strong, and we are having a lot of fun. He wants to be around me. Every grandparent's dream, right? So there's no signal in that says, hey, you're messing this up. But underneath all of that, the same thing was happening in both places. Everything is starting to stop at me. At work, customers are literally sitting in a holding pattern, waiting for me to decide what to do. At home, Joseph is waiting for me to do things he's capable of doing himself. And I didn't see it in either places because it didn't feel like I was controlling it. It felt like I was providing value. Here's where it really hit. Here's what happened at work all those years ago. I walked out of my office on a Friday. It was a bad day. I had just spent hours on escalation calls, heavy and frustrating stuff, and then stuff with ownership and finances. My team, they were having an end of the week party. They're all relaxed and laughing. How dare they, right? It felt like a total no stress zone. And I remember walking out of the building that day thinking, why can't they handle more of this that I'm dealing with? And I carried that thought and that emotion all weekend, just kind of stewing on it. Have you ever had weekends like that? Maybe weeks like that? Maybe years like that? Anyway, Monday morning, I woke up with chest pains. And that led to the ER, because guess what I had won? I had won some elevated troponin levels. Oh, and the byproduct of getting levels that high, it's an all expenses owed 3-day stay in the cardiac ICU. I'm 30 years old at the time. Now, fast forward to after my very restful stay at the hospital. It's another story for another day. I come back to the office and all my tasks all lined up like good little soldiers waiting for me. And that's when the idea started to develop. Now, it didn't happen all at once. Certainly not enough to hit me. But here's what it was. I didn't build a team that could handle this. I built a team that could bring it to me. I never trained them to solve it. I trained them to escalate it. And I did it while thinking I was being a great leader. Now, fast forward, let me bring it back home. Different setting, but the same frustrating pattern. And 20 years later, right? Yeah, totally a slow learner. But there wasn't one big moment. It was slower. No trips to the hospital. But there was a point where I'm watching Joseph, and he's actually with his dad, Tyler, who's a great dad. And Joseph is cleaning up. He's putting his Duplo blocks away. He's just in there doing it. And I had this weird moment of, why doesn't he do that with me? And the answer came immediately. Because I don't work with him to give him the chance to do that. I have made it easier for him to rely on me than to grow without me. I told myself that what I was doing was connection, but it wasn't. It was dependence. That's uncomfortable because now you've got two completely different situations. A multi-million-dollar business under pressure and a 3.5-year-old at home. And the same truth shows up in both. I thought I was helping, but I was actually creating a system where everything came right back to me. In an effort to strive to always be completely transparent, which is my goal in life, there's another layer to this. I liked it. It worked. I was the guy, everyone's favorite manager, the one who could solve all the hard problems. So all the partners liked me, all the employees liked me. I was the guy that was needed. At home, I'm Joseph's guy, the fun one, the one that he runs to. And both of those things, they feel good. But they come with a cost. Because in both situations, I was making myself appear more valuable by making everyone else less capable. It's a pretty hard thing to admit, but it's real. And it's way, way, way more common than people think. So, what changes? At work, I stopped solving everything. It was definitely not at once, and it was for sure not clean. But I started involving more people in the process instead of just closing the loop myself. It was messy, and it felt really slow and super uncomfortable. And in reality, it took me 20 years to fully understand what I was even trying to do there. At home, I'm still in it. I catch myself all the time. I find myself just wanting to just do it for him because it's faster and it keeps things smooth. But really, it's probably because he keeps me as his favorite. And I have to stop and I have to say, no, Joseph, you can do this, and then help him through it. And yeah, part of me still worries. What if he likes me a little bit less? That's real. But it's also pretty selfish because he deserves to grow and not just rely on me, no matter how much I want it. So when we talk about leadership, this is what I want you to actually see. Don't focus on the clean version, the develop your people version. That's important, but don't focus on that alone. Focus on this. Where are you? Where are things stopping at you? Not because people can't move forward, but because you've made it easier for them not to. That's the question. And once you see it, you can't unsee it.